Okay, change of plan. We should be looking for the other nickel.
Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Mr. Spooky Panda, and today I'm coming back at you with another tier list. Now, I know I've done a tier list in the past, and that tier list was about the Call of Duty Zombies maps. And, well, as I did touch upon the bosses, I never really went in depth with them. And I decided that instead of making a whole nother tier list with including maps, including bosses, I decided to make a whole fresh new tier list, but this time we will do it just for zombie bosses. Now again, I'm not perfect and I haven't played every map, so all maps that I haven't played will be categorized under the unrateable tier list. Now this tier list will go as followed: S through F, and then unratables are mixed in with whatever, depending on how you see them, as I can't really rate bosses that I haven't fought and haven't played, you know. I'm also not going to be rating Revelations bosses. I never really played Revelations enough and got to the point where I saw the bosses in order to rate them, you know, accordingly. Endgame bosses such as the Apothecon guy, the Shadow Man, I will also not be rating because I haven't actually fought him before. So without all out of the way, let's get into it. So first things first, we're going to be going over the Hellhounds. I only count the Hellhounds because they have their own specific round, so I feel like they should definitely be included. And Hellhounds are a nice C tier rating. This is because, you know, they're the first boss. They're not really bosses, and they're kind of the first thing that you meet in the game that isn't a zombie. Well, they are zombies. It's the first thing that isn't really like full on just human zombie. And it's a nice base tier rating. It's not too good. They're not too bad. They're not too difficult to take care of. They have less health than the average zombie, and they're not too dangerous. Stuff like that. Before I continue, I should preface on what I'm judging on. I'm judging them on difficulty, how scary, not how scary, Jesus, how difficult they are, their impact on the map, and more specifically their difficulty and their impact on the map and how well they fit within the map, and whether or not they're important to the map or not. So with that C tier rating, because the Hellhounds just kind of appear on maps, they may not be really important to the map as with other maps, but you know, they're just there along for the ride. So I mean, they're nice C tier rating just because they're basic. They're basic. Next, we're coming in to where we go past. So the dogs are first introduced on, I believe, Doris. I believe they might be on Shinonuma in World at War, but I could be wrong. And they've appeared in pretty much almost every single other zombies maps, with excluding a few. Next, we have Ascension. We had to move all the way to Ascension to the monkeys. Now, the space monkeys, or the monkeys that steal your fucking perks, are annoying to say the least. Actually, we're forgetting one. Jesus Christ, we're already forgetting some. So, the Pentagon. Coming in with the Pentagon, actually. Sorry about that. We have the Pentagon Thief. Jesus Christ, I can't believe I forgot about this man. He's actually an A tier rating. Now I'll give you reasons why he's A tier rating. Basically it all chalks up to him just being absolutely unique in his design choice, in his storyline. Well, he doesn't really fit in with the story, which is preventing him from an A tier rating, as he doesn't really make any sense on why he's at the Pentagon unless you've played Classified. And if you haven't played Classified, it doesn't make any sense. You don't know why he's there, and there's no backstory given to him. He's just kind of along for the ride. And while at first that's kind of a detriment to his character, or, you know, not really his character, but the boss, but really and truthfully, he's not that bad of a guy, in a sense that he's not a bad boss. He has a decent health pool, and while he doesn't really do any damage, he is extremely annoying and can be extremely deadly if you don't take the right precautions in order to get rid of him. By precautions, I mean you need to make sure that your weapon, that you're making sure that you're holding out your weapon that you dislike the most when he's chasing after you. And the reason why I say that is because the Pentagon Thief is unique in the sense that if he catches up to you, he will steal your gun. If he steals your gun, you have a chance to get it back by hunting him, by hunting him down and killing him. And if you do get to kill him, you get your gun back, and you get a max ammo and a fire sale. If you don't kill him and he steals your gun, well, you lose your gun and that's it. The round's over. The Pentagon Thief's round's over, and you just lost your gun. If you kill him before he even steals one of your guns, you actually get a max ammo and a bonfire sale. And bonfire sales are pretty much fire sales for the Pack-a-Punch, and allows the weapons to be upgraded for only 1,000 points instead of the 5,000 points that usually costs. And while that is extremely overpowered, it does come with its challenges, and that's why I love the Pentagon Thief so much. I can't tell you how many times I've lost my gun, like my ray gun, and I've lost it forever. And while it does make me mad, he is a pretty difficult challenge to an already really difficult map, and that's what makes it really fun. So he's definitely an A tier rating. He's also one of the many few bosses that spikes my anxiety to a point where I'm in a full-blown panic every time that his round starts. Next is the monkeys now. Sorry about that. And the monkeys are, well, they're monkeys. And on their round, they replace the dogs. And what they do is they fall from landing crafts from the sky. And these monkeys will deploy in pods of 2 and 3. 2 or 3, I can't remember which one. And they will actively hunt down perks. Now, these perks that they hunt down are ones that you have used before. So if you haven't used a perk, don't worry about it. The gimmick behind these monkeys is the fact that if they get to a perk that you own, they will start to break the machine. If they successfully break the machine, well, they steal your perk. And while you could still go back and buy it, just as easily, it is extremely annoying when you have Juggernog or Speed Cola, and you need to defend, and you're on solo, so I'm going to defend Quick Revive as it's a limited perk. And they steal Speed Cola or Stamina Up, and you're all the way across the map and really can't do anything about it. And it's extremely annoying to deal with, but they are extremely fun and do add a challenge to a very easy map, in my opinion. And I guess you can say I'm a little biased, but I do love myself Ascension. It is my favorite map of all time just because of how cool it is. But I mean, the map won't save it alone, and unfortunately the monkeys definitely come at a D because they're not challenging. This is extremely annoying, and if they do happen to touch you, or they do happen to attack, they do a shockwave which stuns you and deals which deals massive damage and just stuns you. So not only do they steal your perks, and not only are they really annoying, they also don't offer that much of a challenge and are just more annoying more than anything else. Like you don't really see the monkeys as a deadly force and a force that you need to take out. You need to huddle up in a group. It's more the things where, like, you get it and it's like, oh fuck, like there goes my perks. Like, such an inconvenience. You don't really see them as that much of a threat, which unfortunately holds them back from anything more than a D tier rating. Moving on to the next one, we have Call of the Dead. And Call of the Dead offered a new boss in the form of it's George Romero. I forget his middle initial, and I'm sorry. But next in Call of the Dead is George Romero. George Romero actually was a pretty interesting character, not only because he was, a real person, reimagined as a boss, but he also is pretty cool, to play and fight against. Not only that, his gimmick is if you hurt him or if he touches you, he gets enraged and becomes a feral zombie that will run and dead sprint towards you at extremely high speeds. So again, not only is that a really cool gimmick to have, he's just really fun to fight against, and the way you calm him down is to get him inside of the water, or use the upgraded VR11, which will instantly calm him down. Either way, he's not that difficult as long as you stay away from him. If you kill him, you get a death machine, but instead of actually getting a death machine, you get the Wonderwaff DG2, which is actually a really cool thing instead of the standard the death machine. So that's pretty cool to think if you think about it. You know, you're not getting just a standard old death machine. You're getting the fucking Wonderwaff. And while it is a very cool gimmick to have, and it's a really cool like nod to a weapon that we haven't seen since Doris. Unfortunately, it doesn't really save him, you know. But he is really cool. He is a nice character to have to fight against. He is definitely a really nice boss. He fits in well with the map, seeing as this map is based around a show or a movie that he's making. Sorry. He comes at a nice B just because of the fact that it's a real a real person reimagined as a boss character. So it's pretty nice. And for that he gets a nice B tier rating. Next we have Shangri-La, and the first one coming in is going to be the Shrieker Zombie. Hands down, worst map of all time. In the terms of me, not wanting to murder myself in my sleep. Hoping I don't get murdered in my sleep. Shangri-La is an okay map. I don't remember what I rated it. I don't remember if I rated it high or not. But feelings have changed if I've rated it high. And I definitely, if I could go back, I'd rate it lower. Just because if I remember how AIDS the map was, just in terms of having to do everything and not being able to find certain things, or just the Easter egg having to be a 4-player Easter egg, which is also the case with Ascension. But first, the Shrieker Zombie, he runs really fast, he shrieks your screen, stunning you, and he's a real big pain in my ass. Not only that, he's also just extremely hard to kill because he runs really fast. And while he does have low health, he is definitely not an easy boss to kill. I definitely give him a D tier rating just because he's more annoying than anything, and he doesn't really add much to the map. Like, the map is still just as difficult without him, and he just makes it more of a nuisance to play and move around the map on. Next we have the power-up monkeys. Now, the power-up monkeys aren't really considered a boss, but I'm going to include them anyway just because I feel like I should talk about these little shits. Absolute F tier. If I could rate it lower than an F tier, I would. These motherfuckers will take your power-ups that you have rightfully earned and then scramble them. And what I mean by scramble them is that what it'll do is, as long as he has your perk, it will cycle, as long as you have your power-up, it will cycle through each and every single one of your power-ups, or each and every single one of the power-ups. Now again, there is always the chance that you can turn your Carpenter into a max ammo, or a double points into an insta-kill, or a kaboom into a double points, whatever. And there is, of course, if it takes a max ammo, there's always a slight chance that you'll get a perk bottle, which will give you a free perk. And while that is a really good sounding thing on paper, unfortunately, it's just not that good in general. And with the 500 points you get for killing these little shits without them even touching a perk, is a nice change of pace and definitely can help you, decide whether you live or die. Unfortunately, it doesn't really help in the grand scheme of things, is when you really get to the later rounds, you're not really going to be needing to use those 500 points, because there's really nothing you need to buy that's worth 500 points. Everything's going to be worth a lot more than just that 500. And while yes, that is extremely petty of me to say, unfortunately the 500 points aren't going to be getting me anywhere in the later rounds. I'm going to need more like 1,000, So unfortunately, the monkeys do come at an F tier just because they don't really add anything to the map. They're just more of a nuisance. They make the map more difficult than it needs to fucking be. It's already extremely difficult. So F tier rating. Next is the Napalm. Now the Napalm is in fact a little bit more exciting to play against, as instead of going fast and annoying, he is slow and deadly. He is extremely difficult to kill if you get too close to him, so you're going to need more of a long-range weapon, or just stay back and hope that you're accurate. The Napalm Zombie not only deals massive damage, and will explode if you get too close, or if you deal enough damage to him. Not only will he do that, he also has the nice ability to start searing your flesh if you get too close to him. Meaning that shotguns are kind of out of the question unless you have a very accurate shotgun, which I'm pretty sure no shotgun except for the stakeout is accurate. Now, I don't like to think of a boss as too difficult that it's too bad for their own good, but I like to think of the Napalm as a little bit too difficult for a map that's already extremely difficult to play on. Not only difficult because of the difficulty setting, but also difficult because this map has no enjoyment factor whatsoever. It's a nice gimmick that you're in a jungle, but other than that, you have Dead Ops Arcade, which allows you to play in the jungle. And it's a lot more fun because you don't need to worry about these guys that will literally light you ablaze if you walk in their vicinity. Not only that, the Napalm Zombie not only is annoying to deal with, he also is extremely deadly to the point where the difficulty setting, the difficulty like challenge behind killing this thing isn't even worth it. And you know, like what I did, I just usually keep them alive because it's much easier just to keep these fuckers alive than kill them. Not only are they bullet sponges, they also explode on impact. And they explode when you get too close. If you get extremely close to them, like, you know, literally touching them, which I'm not sure many people would, because you probably go down before you even get close enough to do that. And with Juggernog, these guys still pose an absolute devastating threat on your health bar. That's not to say that they're bad, it's not to say that they're good, but they're definitely a C tier rating just because they do offer that difficulty challenge that I'm looking for, but at the cost of being a complete fucking nuisance. Next we have Moon. Now Moon is has no shortage of being extremely fun, but except for one thing that kind of sucks the fun out of everything, and that is the Cosmonaut. The Cosmonaut is literally the essence of why I don't play Moon anymore. Now, there's a hidden feature that not many people know about, or a lot of people would know about it now if you've actually played the map, that the Cosmonaut will actually target specific players with specific perks, as long as you're in a close vicinity to them. What I mean by that is if all players are standing equal distance at different vectors of the map, saying one at tunnel 6, one at tunnel 11, as long as they're in equal distance, it will target the one with Juggernog. That means that they both must be at equal distance though. If they are both equal distance, it will always target the one with Juggernog. Now again, as long as if a player that doesn't have Juggernog is much closer, it will still go after the person that's much closer. But it does have the innate ability to hunt down players with Juggernog, or at least that in my experience. That may not be real, but in my fucking experience, that guy always comes up to me when I have Juggernog. Never when I don't. He also has the lovely ability to steal a perk if you get too close to him, and he's able to head bash you, able to fucking headbutt you after giving you a bear hug. This guy is no joke. And in the earlier days, you know, before Chronicles, back in Black Ops 1 days, he also would have the name tag of one of your players on your friends list. This game went above and beyond in making this guy seem mystical and mysterious by giving him a name of a player on your friends list. For example, I used to have a friend called Frozen Nuke who would be on my game. He is on my friends list. I remember a couple of times when the Cosmonaut and the title above him was just Frozen Nuke. Not only was that a really cool gimmick, he also was an extremely annoying boss though, which doesn't really help him in this case of just being an absolute piece of shit to deal with. So unfortunately I'm going to have to give this guy a D tier rating. He is pretty cool, he does add a little bit of challenge to the map, but at the cost of being extremely annoying and not being something that any players want to deal with. In fact, you can keep the first Cosmonaut who spawned on round 1 alive the entire game and never run into him because of how slow he is. So he's not really difficult. He's only difficult if he touches you. Now again, there are ways to get out of him, like knife him or just continuously pull back on the walk stick or the left analog stick. But unfortunately, he doesn't really save him from being a complete waste of time. And yeah, no, he's just a waste of time. I don't really see why anyone would really care about this guy. So he gets a D tier rating just because of how annoying he is. Now something that's really controversial, and I'm just gonna come out and say it now, just because I know I have the floor right now. The Avogadro, not bad, B tier rating. Now I'm not gonna go in depth on why I like the Avogadro. He's not really added anything to the map more specifically. He is kind of a big threat on the map if you get too close to him. But a couple knives to the dome and he's pretty much dead. One hit with an EMP and he's gone. Or Avogadro, the Galvanuckles, they're pretty easy to take care of. Unfortunately though, he's playing on the shittiest map, which doesn't help his case. He does appear in Alpha Omega, I believe, but I never played it, so I mean, I don't know. I refuse to buy the season pass for Black Ops 4, so I'm just gonna say right now, Black Ops 4, the only one I'm gonna rate is the Spider guy, because you know the Warden I've already rated, and I'm too lazy to go back and check to see if there are any more bosses, so I'm not gonna worry about them. But anyways, so the Avogadro B tier rating, he's not a bad guy. He's a nice gimmick of being electrical, but unfortunately in doing so he's extremely annoying. But I actually don't mind him. He's a nice challenge to the game, although there are many ways to counter him. A lot of people complain about him being too difficult or about him just being a complete, you know, nuisance. But really and truthfully, I honestly don't mind him. So next, I'm not counting the denizens, by the way. Those are not bosses. There's not a boss. Just want to say it right now. I guess next I gotta talk about, you know, Die Rise. Die Rise had the jumping jacks, and the jumping jacks were okay. C tier rating, again, they're not too bad. They're just a more annoying version of the Hellhounds. And I give them the same rating just because, I mean, I don't care. I don't care enough about Die Rise in order to rate it properly. You know, I'm starting to think this was a bad idea because I'm kind of running out of ideas on what to say about these guys. I kind of just want to get to like the main guys from like Black Ops 3. And that's kind of about it though. So, anyways, next Die Rise would be Margwa the Dead next. I never knew. I never like understood which came first. Was it Buried or Mob of the Dead came first? I was gonna go with Mob of the Dead because that one's more fun to talk about. So Mob of the Dead had Brutus. Again, he fits very well with the map. In fact, he becomes a very integral part of the storyline. So he's an S tier rating. He is extremely difficult to take care of. He does offer a nice gimmick with the smoke screen, which is a nice riot gear, and definitely something that Wardens would definitely have on them. And Alcatraz would be smoke grenades and tear gas. So I kind of like that about this map, and I kind of like that about the Warden, is the fact that he definitely feels like an actual Warden. He runs around. He doesn't use any bullshit weapons. He uses a fucking nightstick, baton, whatever you want to call it, and has, you know, armored gear on, which kind of makes him a grave threat to take care of. And in Black Ops 4, he's also no exception. He's still just as deadly, still just as dangerous, but with the added bonus that, you know, we have a ray gun Mark II. And we have the Ragnarok, so he's not that difficult. So, yeah, S tier rating. Next is Buried. Buried had the witches. Now, I don't know if this is really a boss, but the witches are more just annoying. F tier rating. They steal 2,000 points every time you get hit by those fuckers. They're annoying. I hate them. They can go die in a hole, and I wouldn't care any less. I have F tier rating. F tier. Next is the Panzer Soldat from Black Ops 2 Origins, and from Chronicles. Now, being one of the most iconic bosses in recent time, having made a return 3 fucking times because Treyarch doesn't know when to let a boss die. Oh god, that's Brutus. Jesus Christ. Okay, that scared the shit out of me. Sorry. Anyways. So the Panzer's okay. I wouldn't really consider him a difficult boss to take care of. In fact, he's kind of easy. But he is one of the 2 bosses, other than the Pentagon Thief, to actually cause me to shit myself scared when playing. He does give us such a sense of urgency into the game, being a fucking tank. He, you know, makes people urgently, frantically hit the box to get the ray gun Mark II, the ray gun, or it also drives people a sense of urgency to make one of the staffs. Now I suggest the wind staff because that's my favorite, because it's literally a thunder gun knockoff. You know, arguably even better because, you know, it's better. But you know, he does give a sense of urgency to the map, just like another boss that's coming up. But I give him an A tier rating just because he's an okay boss. If I didn't rate Brutus, oh, I did rate Brutus. So Panzer's an A tier rating because he doesn't really provide that much difficulty to the map, because the map's already like difficult enough. You know, with the walking giant robot things that always tend to fucking squish me. Sorry, bad thing. But it's a nice boss. I do enjoy the Panzer, and I do enjoy his difficulty. Next, we are going to Black Ops 3, and starting with the Shadows of Evil, we have the Parasite. Now, the Parasite, or as I like to call the bees, because I didn't know what to call them, the bees, or the Parasite, are flying little fuckers that are about as deadly as poison ivy on your private parts. They're not deadly at all. They're in fact pretty easy to take care of. In numbers, they can deal a little bit of damage, but you know, they're pretty spongy. You can take care of them pretty easily. They're fragile. You know, I don't think that they're that much of a threat. In fact, you shouldn't either. They're kind of just meh through here. Just shoot them down and move on with your day. C tier rating. Next are the Meatballs. Who fucking decided that there needed to be literal spaghetti and meatballs on the map? I don't know who decided it, but whoever decided it needs to get a pay raise, because that is fucking funny. While they don't provide anything to the map, in fact, they only appear in Shadows of Evil, unlike the Parasite, which do make a reappearance and a reskinned appearance, might I add. They're not really that difficult to take care of. They do explode on impact, but that's pretty much about it. They fall from the sky, they roll on the ground, they find somebody, and then they explode. That's it. I don't know what else to tell you. So next, after that, we have shit. Who is it? Oh yeah, okay. We have the Margwa. So the Margwa is a pretty nice boss. He has 3 heads. His gimmick is that you have to shoot the head while it's open to deal massive damage. You blow all 3 heads off. He dies, but each time you pop a head off, a Parasite spawns. Pretty nice gimmick. He's a B tier just because he's, I don't know, he's okay, I guess. I don't really see much challenge in the Margwa, because once you really get used to him, you can kind of just take a shotgun and just, as long as you learn his attack patterns, he's pretty easy to take care of. He's not that deadly. He doesn't pose that much of a threat, and he's kind of just there along for the ride. I don't see much challenge in him. I'm sorry. I don't see anything really special about him. But he does get a B tier rating just because he is kind of cool. He's definitely cool looking, and he provides a decent challenge to a pretty easy map. Next is Dorist, and this is with the attack variant Panzer Soldat. And now he's technically a different Panzer, so I am gonna rate him differently. And he's a D. Now I do say D only because he's not that difficult to take care of. He's not a threat. I don't know what people see him with a threat at. He's not a threat. In fact, the most he does is stun you, and then other zombies then decide to pick you off. But other than that, there's no challenge to him. He's pretty easy to take care of, especially with the addition to the elemental bows. Since you get a theme here with the Panzer Soldat and elemental weaponry. But he's okay. He's just kind of along for the ride. He doesn't really add much to the map. In fact, I don't understand why he's on the map. And again, that was one of the things I was judging him off of. But if I can't even understand why he's on the map, he doesn't fit in with the map at all, unlike the Panzer did in Origins, being the excavation Panzer. I don't understand why he's here. I don't understand why he's on the map. He's kind of just along for the ride, and I don't really appreciate it. He shouldn't be there, so he's D. Now this is where things get difficult, because I haven't played Zetsumonoshima, so I can't judge the Thrasher. A lot of people say he's F tier just because of how annoying he is, so again, he's unrated, so that's kind of, unrated means that it's all up to you. You can make me say whatever rating you want just based on what you guys think, because I have no preference because I don't know who he is. Gorod Krovi with the Mangler and the Valkyrie. Again, the Valkyrie is just kind of a reskin of the Parasite, so I guess it's whatever I rated the Parasite. I don't even know what I rated it. And the Mangler, again, don't know who the Mangler is. Never fought him before, so unrated. Unrateable. Next is the the elemental, Margwas, the elemental parasites. Again, I haven't played Revelations enough to really understand how the bosses work and how they're different. So I'm going to kind of say that they're the same and just move on with my day. So I'm not going to rate them either. They will go in with their other equivalents. Next we have Black Ops 4. Black Ops 4, the first map, the Titanic, which was also a massive fucking failure in my opinion. The map sucked dick. I don't know what I rated it beforehand, but I hope it was low because that's what I think of it now. But so first we have, there's the ore guy. There's the fucking coal guy or whatever his name is. Guy, pretty deadly, but he's easy to take care of as long as you're smart. I guess D tier rating. I don't know. I never really played the Titanic. I played like once or twice, so I don't know. I don't know much about him, but I'm gonna put him as a C tier because I don't know what else I should know about him. The Spider is introduced in 9 or in Titanic and goes on to 9, or introduced in 9 and goes on to Titanic, whichever one you played first. I don't imagine really anyone played 9 first. Let's just be honest here. He's pretty deadly. You just gotta shoot the eggs on his back. I give him a B tier rating just because he's scary looking. He's definitely, a challenge on easier maps such as 9, and he definitely presents a big threat. Coming with that, we have the Gladiator, the Axe Wielder, and the Claw Wielder. The Axe Wielder could throw his axes and has more health because of the armor that you need to shoot off of him. So he's a little bit more difficult. He is a C tier rating. The Wolverine, as I like to call him, is the guy with the claws. He's fast, has less health because he has no armor. Pretty easy to take care of again. C tier rating. That's about it. And that leaves me with, Classified. And Classified has no bosses, nothing. So I guess that's it. I don't know. I didn't know that I was really going with this. This sounded a lot better in my head doing, but I don't know. I guess we're done here. I don't have much else to say, so. That's really about it, guys. See you all later. Peace out, you guys.